Being a new realtor and trying to attract new business is really challenging, and it comes with its own unique set of struggles because number one, you just got your license, you don't even know what you're doing, and now you have to go figure out how to talk to people, how to prospect, and where your business is actually going to come from. In this video, I'm going to be going over some prospecting methods that helped me succeed in my first year and that specifically helped me get my first listing and my first buyer within 2 weeks of being in real estate. I'm also going to combine that a little bit with what's really worked for our new agents who are on our team currently, and we're going to go over all of that. Welcome back, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nada. I'm a licensed realtor here in Calgary, and it's been a while since I posted, and that's honestly because our team moved into a new massive office, and it took us quite a bit of time to get our media room set up. So now we're back, we're ready to go, and the videos are going to be more consistent again. Today, I'm going to be your guide in the steps you need to take as a new agent to really succeed and really grow your business into what you want it to be. Now, when you get new business, you want to make sure that you're actually able to keep that business. So my first step and the most important thing by far is finding good mentorship. Now, for me personally, I found that within a team. So I'm on a team called the Getty group, and it's really different from any other team because we have a really unique structure. So basically we're a massive team. We're about 60 agents right now, but within the team, we have more teams. So what that means is that basically you get unique mentorship each time, and you're in a small group with one person who you can specifically always ask for help. Now, this is really important because when you're a new agent, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. You're not going to know how to work any of the systems. You're not even going to understand how to prospect in a proficient manner. So you're going to really want to make sure that you interview teams, interview other agents, just kind of get a feel for what you want to do. Now, you can go solo, but for the agents I know personally that have gone solo, it's really rare that you make it. And the dropout rate in real estate is extremely high. So you want to make sure that you don't fall victim to that statistic and that you're able to find the mentorship and help that you need. Furthermore, having a team structure can ensure that you have leads that you can call. They have prospecting methods and organization in place already, and they have a ton of other things that you can turn to and a bunch of resources that if you were to go solo, you wouldn't have. So if you do feel like you need resources like that and that you need a little bit of extra help, I would really suggest joining a team. I know for me personally, it made the biggest difference in my business. It's also about looking for the specific things that you want. I really like social media, YouTube, and TikTok as forms of my prospecting. So for me, something that was really important is finding a team that has an office that has spaces exactly like this that can help me do that. And I know commission can be a really touchy subject for new agents, but the thing to remember is when you're starting out, you're going to have a lot of expenses. You're going to need to be able to pay for marketing, signs, websites, emails. The list really does go on and on. So if you are struggling with those expenses and you're worried about that sinking you, I would also really suggest being able to rely on a team. Besides that, you also get the mentorship, you get the help, and you don't look like a goofball with your first few clients. Now, the fastest way you're most likely going to get business as a new agent is by warm calling or circle prospecting. So what you're gonna do is you're literally gonna take your phone, you're gonna go onto your contacts, and you're gonna call every single person who's on your contact list. And the important part here is to not shove it down their throats that you're a realtor, but just have a casual conversation with them. Check in on them and see if there's anything that you can help them with. I know it seems weird and it's gonna feel a little bit awkward, but sometimes people genuinely appreciate the phone call and appreciate you checking in. And naturally, through flow of conversation, you're going to ask them what they're doing, they're going to ask you what you're doing, and it will come up that you're a realtor. And the reason that it's best to do it like this is because it doesn't come across as salesy, it doesn't come across as pushy, and you're actually being genuine, and by the end of the phone call, you'll both feel good about the conversation you had. Sometimes people really need someone to talk to. This was really difficult for me and was not my best prospecting method personally, just because I moved from a different province. But the reason I put this so high up on my list is because a ton of new agents on our team who do this actually get instant business. And when you're prospecting, it's really important that you keep two things at the top of your mind, and that's your intent and your return on investment. So any prospecting activity that you do, you want to make sure that it's efficient and that it makes the most sense for your situation. A lot of people, when they get their real estate license, don't have experience with really policing themselves. Now you're on a free schedule, you don't have anything holding you to anything. You can kind of sit on your couch and relax all day if you really wanted to until you go broke. It's really important to treat this job as if it's a 9 to 5. What that means is time blocking that out to make sure that you're doing high ROI prospecting activities. So go to a library if you need to, go to a coffee shop, sit in your office if you have an office space like this, and that's how you can grow your business to what it needs to be. One of my favorite methods for prospecting in my first year was groups, and I mean this in multiple different ways. I was in 2 different networking groups, so I was in BX and BNI, and those are business networking groups. Those were great, but it wasn't really giving me what I needed, and it felt really formal and not really what I wanted my business to be and my business to look like. So I decided to create my own group on Meetup, and I tried to find something that I could connect with other people on. So for me, that thing was the fact that I was new to Calgary. So I hopped on Meetup, I checked if there were any groups for people that were new to Calgary, and I noticed that there weren't any. So I decided to make one because that was a mutual interest that I could have with other people, and my group blew up. I basically had 500 people in my group within 6 months, and I would host events in that group that people would come to and we could mingle with. And the most important thing when I was mingling with people in these groups is that I wanted to get them on social media. I wanted to get to know them better. And I wanted them to constantly see my face pop up so that they know if they ever need a realtor or they ever need anything, they can come directly to me. For me and my business, something that's really important is not coming across as salesy. So I didn't want to create a first-time home buyer group. I didn't want to create a real estate investor group where people just knew my whole intent was to pitch to them and try and sell them something, because that's not how I run my business and that's not how I work. So my goal through every prospecting activity that I did was to find genuine connection. Another way you could do this if you don't want to pay for the Meetup subscription is we have some people on our team that do Facebook groups as well. So they'll create buy and sell groups, they'll create mom groups, all different types of groups, and you can just slowly through posting on those add people, and then people will see your stuff. I'm not really sporty, but you could sign up for some recreational sports teams, or maybe you like biking or hiking. You could sign up for groups like that, and you could meet people that way too. I know people aren't going to be fond of this one, and this is one that I really had to drag my feet on doing for myself personally, but it's posting on social media, especially apps like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And what's really important is when you're posting on these platforms is you don't want to be just dancing around, smiling, having fun, and giving no value. You need people to understand that you know what you're talking about. So when I first started off and I was still really new, what I would do is basically I'd research a topic in real estate that maybe I didn't know that much about. I'd write out a little script on it, and then I'd go on the camera and I'd create an educational video for people to watch. The way to do this is to think to yourself, if I was a buyer, if I was a seller, or if I was an investor, what is some content that I would want to see that would provide me value in short form that's easy to digest and easy to consume? And staying consistent with that is really important too. Whether you're scheduling your post, coming up with a day that's specifically allocated to filming content, that's how you're going to manage to stay consistent. And I'm preaching this, but this was really difficult for me. And even today, it's pretty hard for me to stay consistent. But something that I'll tell you right now is the easiest and best clients you will ever work with are going to be clients from social media. And that's because these are people that vibe with your personality, that like what you're saying, because they chose to follow you, engage with your content, and then DM you to become their realtor. So I know it's awkward, it's a little bit embarrassing at first, and it is quite a bit of work. It will be the best source of business for you in the future. And in your first year, you want to treat it as if you're building up to that point in your business. The next thing I have on my list are leads and cold calling. Now, I was definitely not the biggest fan of this when I first started, but I did try it out so that I could understand what my favorite modes of prospecting would be. And I quickly figured out that this was not my favorite. But for a lot of new agents on our team and for a lot of other agents out there, this is pretty much their only method of prospecting. You're going to need a lead gen system in place to be able to do this. And I know for me personally, that is not something that I would even remotely know how to set up or do. So I'm lucky though, because our team at least has the leads and has that option available. I personally have mine turned off because that is not my favorite method of prospecting, and I know that I probably won't call them as many times as I need to, but it does work for some agents on our team and some new agents, especially if you're really consistent with the calls and really good at follow-up. Then you're going to have a pretty strong business from just the leads alone. The vital thing when cold calling is to just, again, not come across as salesy. You want to hear these people's objections, you want to understand what they have to say, and you want to help walk them through whether buying or selling or whatever they need to do is a good option for them right now. There's so many annoying salespeople that call and all of those spam calls, and you just want to be able to differentiate yourself from them. Just come across as a real, unique human being. If you're after listings in your first year, the best thing, and I hate to say this, that you could probably do is door knock. I've seen this work best when you door knock right before spring, because that's when people are usually thinking of listing their properties the most. So if you go around door to door with like a nice created flyer and you offer to give people free market evaluations of your home, that helps get the conversation started. Now, the thing to note about this one is that it's really not going to work unless you do it consistently. People are just going to open their door, close the door, and then completely forget you. So you need to do it a couple times in order to be at the top of their mind. And you want to be offering some value. You don't want to go and knock on their door and be like, hey, I'm a new realtor. Do you want to sell your place? Because that's not going to work. You're going to get the door slammed in your face. The best way to do this is to knock on their door, make a little joke, and let them know that you're offering free home market evaluations and that you could do it online, do it in person with a walkthrough of their home, and that helps get the conversation started. Then mark down which houses didn't open the door or seemed interested and come back to those houses in a week or two and continue doing that until you basically have a firm answer. We have an agent on our team that does about 50 deals a year, and his entire business was built off of door knocking. I know it seems really old school and it seems like it won't work, but that's part of the reason that it does work, because not a lot of people do it anymore. You'd also be really surprised at how friendly people are. I know I did this a lot in my first year and I don't do it anymore, but I was so nervous that I was going to get the door slammed in my face. I thought people were going to be so annoyed at me, but everyone was actually genuinely very nice and were really open to having a conversation about me, especially now when the market's just so crazy and we're in such a volatile time. People do want to be having those conversations, and in person lets them know that you're a real human being, you're not a telemarketer, and you're just trying to help them out in any way that you can. The last thing to do is to make yourself very open to having conversations with people. I know for me, I live in a high-rise building, so I'm constantly going up and down the elevator, and that is a great place to spark up conversation. And then eventually you'll get to know them on a first-name basis, and then you can strike up some conversations about real estate or what it is that they do. And that's how you can grow your network as well. Another place that you could do this is a coffee shop if you're someone who likes to get work done there. I've seen a couple realtors on our team, they'll do something really cute and they'll get a little sticker that says, I'm a realtor, ask me a question, or something like that. Just any cute little quip that strikes up a conversation and lets people know that you're open to talking to them. That's a really great way to interact and get some business too. It's really important to make sure that whatever prospecting activities you do, you're really passionate about and you'll do consistently. Like I said, you need to treat this to a 9-to-5 job in order to succeed. And just think about stuff that you like doing and the passions you have, and find common ground with people that have the same passions that you have. This is really the best way to build referrals and build clients for life. You also need to be able to differentiate yourself from other realtors and other people in the industry. So I made sure that I was continuously learning, I was continuously training, and if there was ever something I didn't understand or needed help on, that I would seek out that help. It also is just really best practice to know what you're doing, and that's the way that you can help your clients out the most. For example, if I walk into a property and I see there's a massive crack in the foundation, I want to be able to educate my clients on that so that they don't waste their money on a home inspection knowing that that crack was going to be what turned them away. Extra value like that, people really appreciate. And that was something that was really hard for me, was walking into a home and understanding the systems, understanding what year certain things were from. And I made sure that I just kept a notes app on my phone. I would consistently ask questions about things, learn how to comp properties properly. And whenever I learned something, I would type it into my notes app. And that way, if I ever forget, I can search on my notes app really easily and then it'll come up. That's what's really gonna make you unique in the industry, especially if you're someone who's younger. People are already gonna look at you and they're already gonna think, well, you haven't been in the industry long. You're not gonna know what you're doing. So you need to be able to prove those people wrong with the education, the background, and the training that you have. And that's how you're also going to be able to retain those clients. I forgot to mention, but something else that's really good to do and to practice is having conversations with people. And you can do that through role play. So whether you grab another realtor, your partner, your sibling, just sit them down, have a conversation as if they were a buyer, as if they were a seller, as if you were taking them through a showing or doing a listing presentation. And that way you can practice and build up confidence that you need for when you do those things in person. The difference between an amateur and a professional is that an amateur does it until they get it right, and a professional does it until they can't do it wrong. If you do these things, stay consistent, and build the skill set that you need to retain your clients, you will have no problem building a consistent flow of business. And I know I touched on the team that I'm on a little bit in this video, but if you have any more questions or you think it might be a good fit for you, just reach out and I'll answer any questions that you may have. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed this sort of content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified of my next video.